Okay, welcome to my big backyard. I thought I would just go around today and do a couple really short clips showing you what's going on here. This is the first week of May, so I'll show you what I have blooming in my yard and a couple of changes that I have made. The first thing to show you is look at the flower buds that are forming on my orchid cactus. I can't wait for them to bloom. This one over here also has some nice flower buds on it, if you can actually see them. It's gonna still be a couple weeks before these things pop open because they take quite a while to develop, but I'm hoping that even more form in the meantime. As you can see, my azalea in the corner of my porch is doing beautifully. It looks amazing, but it always does this time of year. And my fruit trees are still doing quite well, or at least as well as they were before. This is the mandarin tree that was blooming and has baby fruit on it. The other mandarin tree. My lemon tree still looks pretty sad, but it'll come back. And my lime tree is blooming. It has baby limes and it has almost ready limes, so that's perfect. And the newest addition to my crazy fruit tree collection is an avocado tree, which I purchased this past weekend. It's nice and healthy. And it even, when I looked in here earlier, I found one little lone end of a flower tip that hadn't gotten pruned off, which means that this tree is old enough to flower and bear fruit. I just probably need to wait until next year. So that's exciting as well. As many of you know, I planted this green stalk tower full of strawberries this spring, 2 different varieties. And out of all the strawberries I planted, 8 of them died and I just never got anything. You'll see that I do have flowers on my strawberry plants and even the beginnings of fruit on a few of them. But to replace the ones that died, I went ahead and I planted alyssum in the empty little cubbies. And while that is not a strawberry or even a food, it's going to look really pretty. Some of this is purple, some of it is white, and it should just look decorative in my green stalk in the places where I no longer had strawberries growing. Now, for a walk along my fence line, you can see that I have some beautiful purple irises in bloom here. These are gorgeous. I love the little yellow beards on them. They're so pretty. And as you come along, the daffodils, as you can see, are pretty much done, although I do have a couple late bloomers like this pheasant eye narcissus going along. If you look in the back, you'll see that the columbine has started. I have at least 3 different colors of columbine, if not 4 back here. It goes to seed readily here and will just grow on its own. And my hellebore is still in bloom. This variety of hellebore is called French Kiss. There is my teeny tiny oak leaf hydrangea, but this is bigger than it has ever been. This is almost 2 years old now. Some of my ranunculus and anemones have come up, but they haven't done anything or showed any signs of flowering yet. Still plenty of time for that. Here I have a viburnum that I planted last year called Tandoori Orange. The flowers on it will be opening soon, so that should look nice. My creeping phlox blooms beautifully every year. Here's a few more of my pheasant eye narcissus. Back here I have a lobelia, which came back from last year. And I have a couple echinaceas, this one and this one here that came back from last year, and you know, a spot where something didn't come back. You can see my hosta coming up, and a variety of different lilies are growing here. I don't even remember what these lilies are, to tell you the truth. I bought them a long time ago, planted them somewhere else, moved them. Who knows what they are now. And down here is an anemone that I planted here last year. Oh no, that's not an anemone. That is, not the cat. That's a ranunculus, I believe. Here is the anemone that I planted last year, and another ranunculus coming up, as well as some more iris. And back there is underneath is some creeping phlox that hasn't done much in that spot. As you can see by my beautiful buds in the pile of ants, this peony has done amazing. I've had this one for a couple of years in this spot. I have more echinacea. Last year I got from a neighbor this beautiful iris. I loved this, and I saw it in their yard and I asked them for a chunk of it, and look how beautiful it is. So one of my favorites already, and of course some more purple coming up. I have other irises in here yet, they just have not come up yet. My butterfly bush is returning. I planted that last year. I don't even remember what color it specifically is, but there it is. Let me pull up some of these baby cherry trees. There's a big cherry tree right there, and it just drops tons of seeds into my garden. It wasn't a problem when it wasn't my garden. It was grass and I just mowed it. But what you see here is some snapdragons that I planted from seed, and then I planted out here. I'm still waiting to see how they're doing. I put some seeds in this spot, and I have itty bitty seedlings in here that I'm hoping are snapdragons, but I have no real idea what they are and won't know until they get a bit bigger. Back here is a summer crush hydrangea that I bought last year, and a hollyhock that I started from seed this year. There's not much to that. Hopefully it survives. I had 4 of them planted along here, and most of them got eaten or something. I'm not sure exactly what happened to them. This is the only one that remains. I did have some poppies come up that I planted from seed right here. So I'm waiting to see what kind they are. The tag says that they're either amazing gray or tangerine gem, and if the cat would stop bumping into me, it would be a lot easier to film this. This one is another lobelia. I bought and planted this lilac tree last year. It's still too small to flower, I suppose, or else it probably would have. In here is a poppy that I planted that actually came up from a seed, which is pretty amazing. And apparently a lily that somebody stepped on and is no more. Might have been me who stepped on it. Now, some new additions today. I went to the Amish nursery locally and I bought a blue moon bee balm, grape gumballs bee balm. This is called Morello hyssop, and this is a rosy posy hyssop. So those should attract lots of pollinators if they do well. And of course, as I always like, they will be back next year. They are perennials. Over here I have some more what I think are ranunculus coming up. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. I can't remember sometimes where I planted things, which is why I've gone through and put these white flags everywhere. I know it's not really the most attractive way to decorate your garden, but I just pretend they're flowers or something. And then I know exactly what I have. So anyway, so that's pretty much it for what's going on in my my garden on the side of the house. A quick update on the meadow is that the meadow is pretty much grass right now. You will see a ton of white flags in here, and those white flags represent seedlings that I planted out in here. So we can go along and see that some of them are alive and well. Down here, I believe this was amaranth. I planted some amaranth right there. I planted a variety of sunflowers in here. The one thing I have flowering in the meadow right now is this little white flower, which I believe is called Star of Bethlehem. And I also believe it's an invasive species, but it's pretty and it can live in my meadow. I'm hoping that I'm fortunate enough that some of these other things that are growing up in my meadow are things that I planted. Like this reminds me very strongly of echinacea. So I very much hope that that's what it is, because I planted that and I'm hoping it comes up. But as you can see, I planted some sunflower seedlings in here. There's more sunflowers. It's really going to be hard to tell exactly what I got in here until it all grows up. But I did cut some small paths through here, so I would be able to find my way and find the things that are in here. So hopefully, as the meadow grows, you will get to watch and see it bloom. All right, well, that's it for the meadow. More updates in the future.